All right, looks like we're live. Let's just make sure this is going out okay on the old YouTubes. So I'm flying solo. Luke's been a little busy. Some personal stuff past few days. All right, sounds all right. All right, so I don't know anything in the news here recently, folks. So I'm gonna say something that's gonna piss y'all off. All right, it's gonna piss a lot of y'all off. It was just a building. I really don't care. Oh, Bechtloff the contrarian. No, she isn't. I'm not being a contrarian. Like, yeah, it's sad. It was a very pretty building. Had tremendous historical significance, but it's just a building. It's sad. Yeah, it's sad, and it's a little infuriating because it was almost certainly not an accident, and justice is not going to be done. The cucks running things are going to sweep this under the rug. What was it, 800-year-old building, something like that. Yeah, it doesn't just stand for centuries and then mysteriously burn down. I mean, I understand getting sad about it. I understand getting mad about it. I just some of the people I'm seeing, it's just unreal. I'm hearing people talking about how they're weeping over the tragedy. I don't care that much, guys. It's a building. What's more, it's a French building. I know it's sad. You know, it was a very pretty building, historical significance, all that stuff. It's a shame it's gone. But I mean, it was just a building. What, I mean, I see some of the French, I'm sure, are going to cry about it. They're not going to do anything about it, but they're going to cry about it a little bit. But why bother crying about it? As a people, they long ago turned their back on the God that building was built to honor. It was a whitewashed tomb. I don't have any emotional attachment to Europe anymore, guys. None. It's gone. It's dead. What's more, in its current state, it doesn't deserve to continue to exist. Not only will it not continue to exist, but it does not deserve to. Assuming it doesn't, Europe doesn't have some sort of revival, come back to Christ, it'll be Muslim. A few generations. It'll be Muslim. And all those pretty churches are going to go bye-byes. All those pretty buildings going to be knocked the fuck down. They're not going to be set on fire and burned through what was probably arson. No, they're going to, the Muslims running the country and the cucks that go along with it are going to just knock it all the fuck down. But I mean, it's sad, but they're just buildings. To people who turn their back on God, what do they even mean? There's pretty little buildings. And I know y'all probably pissed at me. Sorry. As I've said before, I don't have the opinions I have because they're popular. I have the opinions I have because I have them. I mean, we're going down the same path in America. Don't get me wrong. We're just not as far along it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't particularly care. The building. It's sad. But I mean, like I said, I'm in a group on Facebook. It's like a secret group, and it sort of ended. It was a lot of like ex-manosphere guys and all, and a lot of them were like trad Orthodox or Catholic or something, but they're not as spurgy as a lot of the trads I know. So I like hanging out with them. I like, and we share memes and we share articles and on PC articles and sometimes hot girl pics, that kind of thing. But I mean, again, these are the a lot of these guys read a lot of Roosh and stuff back then. These are the manly guys, and I'm hearing them talk about they spent one guy said he spent most of yesterday weeping over the tragedy, weeping over the tragedy. I I don't know about that, guys. You know, I mean, I think back to the times when I, as a grown man, have cried over things like my dog dying, um, a death of a loved one. That's about it. It was a building. Oh, I know, Edgelord Bechtloff. It was just a building. Like yesterday, the news was breaking yesterday. And I'm doing a stream, and the news is breaking, and I'm like, oh, Notre Dame's on fire. That's a shame. Well, doesn't look like there's any information. Let's move on to another topic. And every 3 minutes, people in the chat are like, what's going on with Notre Dame? Like, it's no different. Or nothing. There's no new information. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not going to be like a cable news show and just, you know, repeat the same 30 seconds worth of information over and over again. I mean, yeah, if you want to be hyper spiritual about it, a very famous church burns on the Holy Week of the Christian calendar in France. You could take that as a sign if you want to. France long ago turned its back on God. I suppose perhaps he's turned his back on them. But far be it for me to put words in his mouth. Now, you want to be sad about something. Be sad about the fact that nobody's going to do anything about it. I guarantee you, I shouldn't say guarantee you. I don't know all the facts. If I was a betting man, I'd say that fire was set by a member of the Religion of Peace. I really can't see a more likely explanation. Like I said, 800-year-old building doesn't just fucking burn out of nowhere. I know they were doing renovations and rewiring stuff and whatever. Accidents do happen, but it's not like part of it burned. No, like I think like most of it's gone, if not all of it, right? Yeah, that wasn't an accident. So if you want to be sad about something, be sad about the fact that France is going to grab their fucking ankles and take it like a bitch. There you go. You want to be sad about something, be sad about that. Be sad about the civilization that building represents is burning. So yeah, they're not going to do anything. They'll attempt to rebuild it. Who knows how well they'll do with that? But they're not going to do anything about it. It wasn't an accident. And you see Muslims all over social media absolutely laughing about it. Now, you would think, oh, that's going to red pill people. It's going to wake people up. No, it's not. The only people who are even going to notice that story are the people who already know what's going on. Well, Bechtloff, you black-pilled asshole. Well, it's facing reality, man. I'm not black-pilling. That almost implies I'm upset about it. I don't give much of a fuck what happens in France, if I'm being honest with you. My ancestors left the old world for a reason. I care about America. But they're not going to do anything about it. What was it last night on Fox? Some French guy was on Shepard Smith's show, and the guy's like, "This wasn't an accident." Shepard Smith just like cut off his mic and turned it off from him. And I didn't. I read that report, and then I saw another one that I didn't click on that said 2 Fox News hosts did that, and the other one was Neil Cavuto, who's supposed to be, I mean, Shepard Smith is a left winger, but Neil is supposed to be a right winger, and I guess supposedly he did that. I mean, I didn't see it firsthand because I don't watch TV because I'm not fucking 50. But nobody's going to do anything about it. Nobody's going to do a fucking thing about it. So I'm not going to jump through these hoops of pretending to be sad because that's the bullshit I'm tired of. All right? Because first of all, once again, folks, can't reiterate this enough. It was only just a fucking building. All right? It was wood and stone and glass. It was just a thing. It was just a thing. It was a very pretty thing. It was a very old thing, and it was a thing that had historical significance. So there is worth some manner of being sad about it. But when I hear grown men, normally very masculine and stoic and taking pride in being masculine and stoic, telling me that they were weeping all day over the tragedy, grow the fuck up. There's a building. You want to weep over something, weep over the civilization it represents is dying, if not dead. There's something to weep over. But it was just a building. So I'm not inclined to be very, very mournful over a building. Again, just a building. I know for a lot of you trad Catholics in my audience, assuming I have any of you left, that's a little hard to understand. You seem to think buildings can be magic, but yeah, they're just buildings, right? It's just it burned down. Build another one. They're just things, and one day all these things around us are going to be dust. Right? Nothing under the sun has any true objective eternal value. I mean, no physical thing has objective value. You understand that? I mean, if you believe in a spiritual dimension to life, that you having a spirit and a soul and a heart and a mind have objective value. I'm even of the mindset that this little retard dog my dad has over here, that he has a little soul, which from the eternal perspective makes him far more valuable than a building. But all the things you have, and don't get me wrong, it's nice to have nice things, all right? But they're just things. They're going to be dust one day. That's it. It's just going to be dust one day. So, like I said, I'm not particularly inclined to be extremely mournful over a building, but I'm certainly not going to jump through the hoops and pretend to be mournful over something when no one really gives a shit. At least no one in a position to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything about it. Guarantee you that building was burned down. Nobody's going to do a fucking thing about it. They're just going to let in more of the savages that likely did it and give them more power. So I'm not jumping through these hoops again where what am I supposed to put a fucking Notre Dame filter over my Facebook profile or some gay shit like that? I'm not doing that anymore. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. One of I want to say the last time, but I'm sure it wasn't the last time. But one of the times London got fucking attacked, and everyone's like, "Oh, pray for London, pray for London." Fuck them. They apparently want this. This is the future they chose. So I'll tell you what I've been doing the past couple days. I've been sharing some dank memes on it. I've been just laughing at it. So why not? What else is there to do? Oh, there was one meme where somebody photoshops one of the dragons from Game of Thrones over the burning Notre Dame, and like, oh man, a new season of Game of Thrones is lit. Or one where it's like a picture of the Hunchback in Notre Dame, and he's saying like, I have information that'll lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. Like that's what I've been doing. I've been enjoying the fucking memes, and I've been enjoying them even more because a lot of people are pissed. Yeah, it pisses a lot of people off, which makes it even funnier to me to share. But I'm not going to sit here and cry about a fucking building. I mean, I long ago accepted that the civilization, you know, certainly in Europe, the civilization that built those buildings is done, is dying, has decided to die, is dying by suicide. So fuck them. Again, not the most popular things to be telling you all today. Yeah. You know, but there it is, guys. I don't really care much. As I said, it is sad. It was a very pretty building. It was a historical significance, all that. Shame to see it go. But you better get used to it. Because it's all going. Unless something changes, it's all going. And, you could be like, well, this is going to wake people up. You saw the like French people were crying about this and kneeling and beginning to pray again, and and of course, all the images of the fucking Mohammedans laughing at it. And that would be fantastic if this actually, because again, I'm not French, so to me, Notre Dame, it's just a really pretty building that exists, on the other side of an ocean that I've seen pictures of before. This may indeed hold more significance to an actual Frenchman. And I don't mean the bullshit, I'm going to pretend to be upset about it kind of significance. Maybe it truly moved their souls. But I doubt it. Press X to doubt. I think they're going to cry about it for a couple of days. And then they're going to go back to eating their fucking croissants or whatever other gay French food they eat. Um, you know, while their women are raped and their buildings are burned down and their country is destroyed. Maybe not. I don't know. You saw a little bit of that yellow vest protest. Maybe the French have regained their balls. I don't know. I certainly haven't heard a lot about that lately, though. I'm beginning to think that stuff's been squashed. Now, maybe the media is just squashing the coverage of it. But I suspect it's basically been squashed. Pretty hard to do that kind of thing when nobody has any guns. Not impossible, but pretty hard. But I mean, like I said, I don't have any. Europe is a place where people need licenses to own a butter knife, and you get like. Let me put it this way: if you, as a Frenchman, go around publicly saying you suspect that Notre Dame was burned down by Muslims, you will have the weight of your establishment and government brought down on you. They will put more effort in investigating your mean comment on social media than they will investigate what burned that building down. Now, if that's where France is at as a country, and you know damn well it is, why should I care? Why should I care? Why should any of you? Anti-Dem had a great comment. He had a couple of great comments on Gab. I want to see if I can bring them up. Actually, read them, not just off memory. Actually, read them. He had one where he said, you'd think I'd be more emotional about Notre Dame burning down, but I'm not. what used to what it was to well, I'm sorry, what use was it to a people who had lost their faith? Without the faith of the people, it was an empty shell already. He also said he had a tweet. He said, "The church is a smoldering ruin, and our cultural heritage is collapsing before our eyes." Oh, and also some shit's going down at Notre Dame. And by the way, I was kind of pleasantly surprised with Auntie Dem. I love Auntie Dem. He's been on the show before. He was on this show Saturday. He's been in my home. Love the guy. Um, but he does tend to fall into that Catholic trap of being a bit too attached to the tradition and the pomp and the ceremony and the big pretty buildings and all that other shit. But he's not. He's never been like hyper autistic about it like some of these guys. And these not tweets, gabs, whatever you call them on Gab, show that. All right. Well, I got a few minutes before I'm going to wrap this up. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, chat. I'm going to open this up to callers. Doesn't look like we have any super chats. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. But it doesn't look like we have any super chats to read. But yeah, if you want to call in, go ahead and message me on the Skype there, as Cantwell you say. The Bechtloff on Skype. And if we have any callers, I'll take some callers. If not, I might just wrap this up because, I just kind of felt like, pissing on everyone's parade about the Notre Dame thing. Let's see. So he says, "Damn you, Bechtloff, how am I supposed to be? You're properly wage cuck with your midday stream." Yeah, I'm not sure if the midday streams if I'm going to stick to that or maybe do the late night streams. Problem with doing the late night streams is my schedule has shifted it to being slightly even later, so I probably wouldn't be able to get a late night stream started till like 1 a.m. instead of around midnight. So I don't know. Maybe I'll stick to the afternoon streams. I'm not sure if they're more popular or less popular. They don't seem to be pulling in as many super chats, which, I hate to sound like a shekel hoarder, but that is the main way I make money off this now. Let's see. Somebody says you could just make a Gab post or something. Well, I mean, nobody's on Gab, so. I mean, ever since a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I guess, Gab really just sort of fell off. I mean, I like Gab. I defended Gab for a while. I know Forney had issues with it, that kind of thing, but I was fine with it. But after a while, it just reached an insane level of mismanagement where the site was just broken. It was actually down for a few weeks. So, somebody says late night streams have more energy. I do usually have a bit more energy in the late night. I mean, that is what to a normie person is, an afternoon after work. I mean, this is me when I'm kind of just recently up. I mean, I think I got up around 12:30 today. Spice Weasel says, I'm going to the local courthouse and get all the publicly available documents related to the Spoonie case. Hopefully, the sentencing order that was just filed would be part of it. Yeah, he didn't show up to court last time, supposedly. See, this is what I said when I heard Spoonie was going to be going to court for this. He ran this red light and hit people and lied to the cop when he showed up. I was like, he's going to end up in jail. And everyone's like, no, it's just a traffic thing. It may be a civil case, but he's not going to end up in jail. I'm like, no, he's going to fuck this up. He is going to act like such a shithead about everything. He's going to end up in jail. And I mean, he's already quite possibly going to be facing a contempt of court charge. And that's usually at least some jail time. Even if it's just, sometimes it's just like a couple of days or something. But he says, Bechtloff, have you heard anything about the PS5? Not really. There's shit tons of rumors out there, but nothing substantial. I've heard a rumor that it might be backwards compatible with all PlayStations, the 4 previous PlayStations, which, if that were true, I don't know how feasible that is. I mean, on a technical level, I don't know how feasible it is. Plus, I don't know if they're that inclined to want to do that because, they don't want you playing the old stuff. That would help you realize how much the new stuff sucks. But if that were true, I might be inclined to get one. If getting a PS5 opened up PS3 and 4 libraries for me, yeah, I might be interested in that. I mean, I already have a PS2, so that plays PS1 and 2 games, but it would be very, if I could just put my PS2 away for a while and just have the one thing that played, all 5 systems kind of thing, that'd be fantastic. So he says, and you haven't heard anything, you dummy, because Sony just released some info and it is backwards compatible with PS4 games. I was sure it was going to be backwards compatible with the last one. I mean, wasn't PS4 backwards compatible with PS3? I mean, that's kind of pretty common. But yeah, if it was backwards compatible with all of them, that'd be worth getting. Spice Weasel says, I'm going to give it another 24 to 48 hours so Wheels of Justice move rather slowly in these parts. I'm going to laugh my ass off if Spoonie goes to jail. I'm going to laugh. What a fitting end to the Spoonie saga. Going to jail because you acted like such a shithead over a traffic violation. You end up going to prison for it. PS4 wasn't backwards compatible with PS3. Oh, well, I wouldn't. I mean, I never had a PS. I didn't really have any interest in it, so I don't know a tremendous amount. Bechtloff, give us an N with a hard R. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, y'all were complaining that I wasn't taking a look at the chat, so let's scroll up and see what the hell the chat was saying. Okay, we're going to go up to the beginning. Okay, so let's see, scrolling to the chat a little bit here. People are like, what? It was a landmark. Yeah, I know. It was a landmark. Very sad. He says, it was just a building, true. However, there's been a long string of French churches being arsons leading up to it. Yeah. And who's doing anything about it? It's more sad that the French aren't going to do jack about it. Exactly. It's also a symbol, and symbols are what lead to action. This isn't going to lead to shit. Bechtloff, you were right. The church was standing, but religion in France is burned out years ago. Oh, there's a religion active in France. It's just not Christianity. They're going to lament. That's it. Napoleon was crowned emperor in that building. Cool. I don't give much of a fuck about that, but cool. Scrolling to the chat a little bit here. I don't think anyone who listens to you should be surprised. LOL. Well, I mean, sometimes, you know. I mostly agree with you, but you can be a little autistic on the whole screw tradition thing. I mean, it's a bit of an overstatement, just because I'm constantly surrounded in these parts by people who have, in my opinion, made an idol out of tradition. You know, I mean, tradition's a great thing, but only to a point. Spice Weasel says, I don't much care either, and I was both raised Catholic and been to Europe. Let's see. What if the Statue of Liberty got taken out? Well, I mean, I would, it would be sad, and I would hope that there would be enough enough of a fucking actual spirit left in my country that we would find who did it and bring them to justice. You know, I hope we wouldn't just be, you know, I hope if the Statue of Liberty somehow, you know, we wake up tomorrow and it's crumbled, that, you know, all our leaders like, oh, it just fell down. Nothing to see here. Let's see. France is the origin of the downfall of the West. Let's scroll to the chat here. Press 1 to give Bechtloff a hug. Bechtloff isn't even taking the pills anymore. Fox has controlled opposition. Your mom has controlled opposition. Let's see. Scrolling to the chat here. So says, is Davis weeping, you think? I couldn't tell you. 53% of Frenchies strongly support cuckoldry. Is that a real is that a real thing? So he says, didn't Bechtloff complain about a guy killing a bear? Well, again, a bear is a living thing with a heart and a soul. The freaking frog legs are making the French gay. Oh, I got a $5 super chat. That's fantastic. I'll get to that here in a second. Let's see. All right, looks like we're caught up. Spice Weasel, some shekels to make your midday stream strong or slightly worthwhile. Well, thank you. So he says that Bechtloff, it was one of the last things Commonfolk did. What was? I don't know. So he says, I guess about Spoonie, he's going to be screaming, I didn't do nothing as he's cuffed. It's going to be epic. You need to get E:R on your channel. I like his vids. I'd be happy to have him on a stream, chat with him. But I don't really have any modes of contact with him. We don't really run in the same circles, so. You would change your mind about hunting bears if you ever tasted bear meat. It's like juicy pork, only better. Well, first of all, I'm not opposed to hunting for meat. I mean, I eat meat. That would be insanely hypocritical of me. I don't like hunting for sport. I don't like killing something for fun. I think that's shitty and borderline psychotic. And I don't even consider sport hunting isn't really sporting. All right. Like if James McDonald had run shirtless with a machete into the bear's cave, maybe that would have been sporting. All right. But no, he shot the thing from a high-powered rifle, probably sitting in a fucking vehicle when he did it. That's not sporting. As for the bear meat thing tasting like pork, well, I don't particularly care for pork in general, so that doesn't sound like it's up my alley. I'm a chicken and beef guy. Spoonie is going to meet Juan, but not Forgotten's gang. Like I know a lot of guys I know hunt deer, but they actually eat the meat. I don't because they're like, oh, you want to come over and have some venison? I'm like, no, venison tastes like shit. Um, but yeah, sport. Oh, it's too sporting. It's not sporting. All right, if there's not at least a really really significant chance that thing's gonna kill you, then no, that's not sporting. You know, I fish for sport, the sport of it. That's not sporting. You're just sitting on ass with a fucking rod in the water. That's not sporting. All right. Yeah, if you dive into the water with a knife between your teeth and come out with a fucking shark you killed, yeah, that's sporting. So he says Bechtloff is a tree hugger deep down. I am. I am a nature lover deep down. Um, so he said esports aren't sports either. I agree. Um, but no, I am a bit of a nature lover deep down. I always have been. A place I grew up, it was a very dense suburb, but at the same time, all the areas and it was being developed, or in the late '80s, early '90s. But at the same time, all the areas that weren't developed were very, very deep woods. So it was sort of a best of both worlds thing. Like I could ride my bike to a really nice community pool, all my friends' houses, my schools. Um, I could ride my bike to like 3 or 4 shopping centers, a movie theater, a mall. But at the same time, there were really deep woods like right near me that would just sometimes go for miles and miles. And sometimes I'd find like a path in the woods, and I just on a Saturday afternoon I'd just go find, like, see how far it goes. And sometimes it would actually be a shortcut between areas, but sometimes it would just go for fucking miles off towards the more the less developed redneck end of the county where if you walk down that path at night, that's how a horror movie starts. Mars Ultor says you don't eat pork, you love rap, and you got a thing for redheads, the ultimate shikas. I can never pronounce that word. Bechtloff echoes confirmed. Yep. Friendly reminder that the founder of black.com is French. So there you go. Um, let's see. Somebody says, hey, oh, it's Bechtloff. Yes, indeed it is. Venison tastes good if it's prepared properly. I have never had venison I've liked. What's more, like I used to say, like, because like the thing with pork is I like some ham once in a while, like a honey baked ham, maybe like slices of ham in a sandwich, something like that. Um, I'm okay with that. It's not necessarily my favorite thing, but I'm okay with it. And I don't mind like a pork sausage or hot dog, because I used to joke with the sausage and hot dog. It doesn't even matter what meat you start it with. Although in all fairness, I prefer a beef one. I prefer a beef sausage or hot dog. But I once had there's something that's popular in this area, Lebanon bologna. It's like a kind of a sweet bologna. And I remember one time, like my dad got it for me. He didn't even tell me what it was. He just told me it was Lebanon bologna. He's like, "Oh, I picked up some Lebanon bologna," and he was trying to see if I'd catch on to it because it was Lebanon bologna, but it was made of venison. And I had no idea. I just kind of like They had a couple pieces, and I'm like, I don't know where you got this at, but don't go there anymore. This is terrible. I'm not even sure why. It's just awful. And he's like, I was wondering if you catch on it. That was venison. I'm like, oh, well, that explains it. Um, I remember one time, one place I worked at, they were doing like a potluck lunch, and there was a really nice cafeteria at that place I used to go to, and really great food and pretty cheap because it used to be an RCA factory, but it got turned into like a business park almost, where it's like there were a lot of little tiny manufacturing businesses in there that all shared the building, and they all shared a cafeteria. And like I said, it was a great salad bar there. There was, a lot of hot food made to order and pretty cheap. Like I could get like a really big salad and a quesadilla for like $8. And salads aren't cheap because they got to weigh them, and the dressing usually weighs a ton. Um, like $8, $9 for just eating like a king. So I usually went to cafeteria, but I was always conscious, like, oh, I want to save money and not. So the one day the rednecks that worked with me brought in a potluck, and I'm looking at all this food. It's all a lot of country kitchen fucking food that I don't want. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna go over to cafeteria. But then I saw somebody brought in meatballs. I was like, well, fuck meatballs. That sounds delicious. You can't go wrong with meatballs. Even these rednecks can't fucking go wrong with meatballs. So I load up my plate with some meatballs, and I sit down. I take a bite out of one of these meatballs, and it was disgusting. I'm like, oh, this is not good. And then I look at the meatball that I took a bite out of, and like the texture's all wrong. It's almost like stringy or game. I can't even describe it. But I'm looking at I'm like, was this cow fucking sick or something? Am I gonna die? What the fuck did I bite into? Oh, these are venison meatballs. Oh, that explains it. Explains it. So he says you would never make it in the hills if you can't stand deer meat. I'm not a deep in the country living kind of guy. Where I live is about as rural as I can stand. I'm a suburb guy at heart. I like having a little bit of nature over on the one side and a little bit of civilization over on the one side. Um, let's see. Shout out to Steve's Jerky Bechtloff. Oh yeah, Steve's Jerky sponsor for today. Steve's Jerky is delicious. I understand he has venison jerky available, but thankfully he doesn't send any of it to me. It's beef jerky for me, damn it. Oscar Mayer makes chicken hot dogs now. They're surprisingly tasty. Yeah, chicken hot dogs aren't bad. Honey baked ham is amazing. Oh yeah. Oh, the one year for Thanksgiving, um, I go to my dad's cousins, and she usually does a turkey and a ham because there's enough people there to justify that much food. Which is good because I'm not a big fan of turkey, so I'll go with the honey baked ham. She had a caramel apple baked ham one year. Oh, it was so good. But yeah, I'm a chicken and beef guy. Mostly chicken, to be honest. Beef's the kind of thing I do a bit more sparingly than chicken. Chicken I eat almost on a daily. Um, beef, a good burger, or a good steak once in a while. But chicken I could basically live off of. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Uh, you know, I should be done pissing you all off with my contrarian. Like I said, I'm not saying don't be sad about it. It is sad, but but spare me the melodrama over it. I mean, come on. Um, all right. Well, that's about it for today, folks. Like I said, I am kicking around the idea of whether or not I'm going to stick with the before work streams or go back to after work streams. They would be a little bit later than they used to be. So, I'd be interested in the chat, or not in the chat, in the comments, because I'm about to wrap it up. So forget about it in the chat. But in the comments, I'd be interested in, what all you guys would prefer. And yeah, that's about all we got for today. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.